Welcome to Kevin's Covers. This channel is all about doing solo acoustic arrangements of songs for musicians who would like to get out and busk or do solo acoustic gigs. And today we are going to do our first Neil Young song. We're going to do Cowgirl in the Sand. First thing to note is that I have transposed this down to E minor. Neil does it in A minor. I see him doing it actually in a couple of different keys. Now it's interesting because typically I try to avoid doing arrangements of songs that already have good acoustic arrangements by the original artist. And Neil Young has done this with a couple of different types of acoustic arrangements, live at least, and they're wonderful. And so I was hesitant about doing this song, but there's a couple of reasons I'd like to do it. First of all, I've been playing this for a long time, like 40 years. Secondly, there's a real value in transposing Neil Young down, because there's no way that I or most other males can sing at his vocal registry. He has an extraordinarily high voice. And when you do bring it down, it really does change the way this song is played. And as such, since I do this in E minor as opposed to A minor, I think it's worthwhile taking a look at the song. If you have a vocal registry that's more like mine than like Neil's, then hopefully this will be useful for you. And furthermore, I do kind of like this arrangement. So let's take a look at the performance. Before we do that, I rate this as pretty easy. There's some bits of it that requires feeling, but everything requires feeling. And yeah, it's a pretty easy song. So I'm going to say it's an easy song to do. Let's take a look at the performance, then we'll come back and I'll show you how I did it.
Hello, cowgirl in the sand. Is this place at your command? Stay here for a while. Can I see your sweet, sweet smile? I'm old enough now to change your name. When so many love you, is it the same? It's a woman in you that makes you wanna play this. Has your band begun to rust? After all the sin we had, I was hoping that we'd turn back. Old enough now to change your name. When so many love you, is it the woman in here?
So that was my performance of Cowgirl in the Sand. Let's take a look at how that is actually put together. As I mentioned, the song, as I'm doing it, is in E minor. It's going to alternate a lot between E minor C over the singing. And as is so often the case with Neil Young when he's playing acoustic, actually also when he's playing electric, and unless he's playing fingerstyle, there's so much of it is in the right hand. You really have to make sure that your right hand is close to the strings, that you're going to play around with it, you're going to muffle stuff with the palm of your hand. You're going to bring out what you want to bring out. So keeping that in mind, let's take a look at the opening of it. We have the E minor. Stuff like that. It's never extraordinarily precise, right, with Neil Young. But you're going to play around with stuff like that. So you're going to be playing between this D and this E over here, and this G. You're going to add from time to time the A, the fourth, with your pinky. If you play around with that, then you'll be fine, right? So coming down hard on that bass, making sure you're not just hitting it with the pick, right? You're not doing that. You're trying to muffle it. You're trying to give it character. So much of Neil Young is like that, with that really presence of the palm of your hand on the strings as you're picking. Once we get past that, right, as we're singing, hello cowgirl in the sand. Actually, in a lot of the recordings that he does, well, certainly in the original recording with Crazy Horse, there was actually a vocal response. Hello cowgirl in the sand. I like to actually do that with the notes, so I'll do it like this. Hello cowgirl in the sand. Right? Because the notes are right there. D, E, G, A. Is this place at your command? If you can pull that off, if you can pull off that heavy muffling and really start feeling it. I always like to, with Neil Young, you want your hand. You have a pick in your hand, but you're playing with your hand. The pick is just an extension. Then in terms of the chords, we have G, D, C major 7, D. I like to come up and hit that. Come back to the G, D, C major 7. Then we have A minor, B minor, G, C major 7 that you can really come out. A minor, D minor, G, C. And then we have this bit. It's the woman in you that makes you want to play that game. In most of the versions that Neil Young does, and certainly in this one, I leave a tacit on the instrument, right? It's a woman in you, or just strum it very, very sparsely. It's a woman in you that makes you wanna play this. So what are we doing? Off the C major 7, and I actually like to come in and double the vocal. Makes you wanna, right? The B, A, G, E. Makes you wanna, then G. And again, I double the vocal by adding the D over here. Because we're singing the B. Play this. Then we have the C major 7. So it's the woman in you that makes you wanna play this. And nail that down over by the bridge to bring out that brightness. Then we have this weird little thing that Neil Young does pretty much differently every time I've seen a version of it from him. But something along these lines, and I like this on this version. So we're singing that, play this game. Then G, right? What is that? Just playing off of a G major pentatonic, so sliding up, back into the G. And then, in fact, he's just playing a B7, E major, before he goes back into the E minor. Very unsuspected chord there. Depending on the version, he'll hold it varying amounts of time. I hold it for a full measure. And then come back into the verse as it typically stands. That's actually the entire song. That really just repeats. Now there's an instrumental interlude, and during that instrumental interlude, I think this song should stand on its merits, and that you can just basically play it the way you'd be playing it, or the way you are playing it, over the vocals, right? It's true, I do change things a little bit. I'll typically do stuff like this. And slide up that C shape to make a D4. And I think that's a D4, yeah. It's not a sus4 because of the third in it, but anyway. So, and then come up and add the E. Actually, Neil Young plays around with that slide from the C into that D in other songs as well. I think he does it on Sugar Mountain, for instance, but anyway. And other than that, I'll often, when I'm in that instrumental interlude, simply come up and, play an E minor up here from time to time to bring up some intensity. But I suggest that you don't try to find any fancy leads or whatever over the instrumental part. Just basically replay the verses and the chorus as you like, right? And feel it. Like, this is Neil Young. You just got to really get across the emotion, and you'll be a hit. It'll be wonderful. I'd point out also, I feel remiss because I actually did a version of Sweet Home Alabama on this channel before doing a song by Neil Young. And if that bothers you because of the historic, I won't say argument, I'll say good-natured banter between Neil and Leonard Skinner, which was pretty good-natured after a while. Anyway, then please excuse me for putting up Sweet Home Alabama before I put up a song by Neil Young, but at least console yourself in the idea that that's the only Skinner song I'm likely to do, whereas this is not the only Neil Young song I'm going to be doing. So don't forget, if you like this video, please like it. And if you would like to see more, please subscribe. And in the meantime, get out there, play, and rock on.